these little pieces. So we need an overview, a kind of a bird's eye view of the whole scenario to understand this situation. I think I'll begin with a verse actually. I'll begin with my Mangalacharan prayers. That's more important. Pratamam tu Guru Pujam Anyata Nishvala Bhavet. Unless one begins by taking shelter of Shri Guru, then any result that comes is useless. So we don't actually get any real result. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupak Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadhantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Because we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, one second, I want to begin again with that verse that that is described by Sanatana Goswami in his glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sorry, can I have screen sharing? Oh, I do. Can I have screen sharing, Rex? I'm so sorry. Brilliant, thank you. So this is again from Sanatana Goswami. He's glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and he composes this beautiful verse. Madeka bandho matsangin madguru manmahadhana mannishtaraka madbhagya madhananda namostute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, my only friend, my only companion, my only teacher, my only great wealth, my only deliverer, my only good fortune, my only bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. So this is the Srimad Bhagavatam which we are now entering. So we first take shelter of the Guru, because it's like if you're going into a house, you have to knock on the door. You can't barge in. So outside the door is the Guru Parampara. We've just taken shelter of them. And now we also must glorify the way that we analyze Shastras. We glorify the author. We glorify the great personalities within the Shastra so that we can understand it, because we do not understand Shastra by our intelligence, but we understand it by mercy. Very, very important thing. This is not an academic subject where if you study many hours we understand. But it's the sincerity of the devotee that carries the principles of Shastra to us. And so therefore we have the particular prayers for the Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. And so people always, they think this part is just a nice kind of way of getting started. No, this is the only way to get started. We cannot understand unless we have this beginning. So, a few chapters ago, what happened is Indra got himself in a bit of a pickle. Indra got himself in what we call a sticky situation. a problematic period. And what happened is there is Brihaspati, his spiritual master, and he offends his spiritual master. Due to offending his spiritual master, he loses everything. In other words, he's defeated by the demons. Then Lord Brahma corrects him and tells him to take shelter of Vishvarupa. Vishvarupa gives him the Narayana Kavacha for protection. However, he finds out that Vishvarupa has a affinity or a connection to the demons, and therefore is somewhat lenient to them in some way. And so he then kills Vishvarupa and incurs a sinful reaction. Then in order to overcome that sinful reaction, there's a whole other story. But basically what happens is Tvashta, the father of Vishvarupa, conducts a fire sacrifice, and to summarize, a demonic personality is born who is called Vritrasura. Okay, so this is Indra messes up by offending Brihaspati, then by killing Vishvarupa. And now he is basically fighting this great demon called Vritrasura. So the whole of the last chapter, which is entitled The Battle Between the Demigods and Vritrasura, is just understanding that under the guidance of Lord Vishnu, the demigods approach Dadichi Muni and take his bones to form the thunderbolt, by which they will then attack Vritrasura and the demons. And when the battle was happening, the conclusion of the chapter is the demons were running away. They were scattering away because their efforts to attack the demigods were unsuccessful. Okay, so now that we've got this big picture, now we're zooming in on this chapter. This chapter is chapter 11. It's called The Transcendental Qualities of Vritrasura. Can we have some devotees to read from verses 1 to 5? I forgot to share my screen. Can you see? It's taking time. Sorry, can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Brilliant. Do we have any volunteers to read from verses 1 to 5?
Manjura Ramataji, please.
Thank you, Prophet. Shri Sukhdev Goswami said, one second.
Do you want me to make it bigger? Sorry, Mataji.
No, it's okay. I'll be able to. Yeah, right. Shri Sukhdev Goswami said, O King Vritrasura, the commander-in-chief of the demons, advised his lieutenant in the principles of religion, but the cowardly demoniac commanders, intent upon fleeing the battlefield, were so disturbed by fear that they could not accept his words. O King Parikshit, the demigods, taking advantage of a favorable opportunity presented by time, attacked the army of the demons from the rear and began driving away the demoniac soldiers, scattering them here and there as if their army had no leader. Seeing the pitiable condition of his soldiers, Vritrasura, the best of the asuras, who was called Indra Shatru, the enemy of Indra, was very much aggrieved. Unable to tolerate such reverses, he stopped and forcefully rebuked the demigods, speaking the following words in an angry mood. Thank you, Prabhu. Or shall I? O demigod, these
Sorry, to number 5, Mataji, yeah.
O demigods, these demonic soldiers have taken birth uselessly. Indeed, they have come from the bodies of their mothers, exactly like stew. What is the benefit of killing such enemies from behind while they are running in fear? One who considers himself a hero should not kill an enemy who is afraid of losing his life. Such killing is never glorious, nor can it promote one to the heavenly planets. O insignificant demigods, if you truly have faith in your heroism, if you have patience in the course of your hearts, and if you are not ambitious for sense gratification, please stand before me for a moment. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So verses 1 to 5, they are describing how Vritrasura is chastising the demigods. At the end of the last chapter, the demons are fleeing, seeing their endeavors becoming fruitless. So he's trying to inspire the demons, saying, no, come back, why are you fleeing? And now the demons are not inspired. So instead, he's now chastising the demigods because they are attacking the demons who are running away. As per the codes of warfare, the moral codes of warfare, there are even etiquettes for that. So in the same way we have Vaishnava etiquette, there is an etiquette for how you do war. And this was followed. You can see in Mahabharata time as well. It's meant to be followed. There is a kind of agreed upon standards. So in those standards, it's not proper to kill someone who is running away. This is most important. You cannot kill an enemy who is fleeing. That is considered very dishonorable as a Kshatriya. As a Kshatriya, as a hero, you should kill someone that is fighting you, but not someone that is not fighting, as per the general moral codes. Of course, dharma is very dynamic, and so even in some cases, like for example, when Karna is killed, then that is okay actually, by moral codes, the way Arjuna kills Karna. He kills when he's not in the chariot, but dharma is dynamic, but the general principle of dharma is such. And so Vritrasura now, seeing that he's not able to inspire the demons, he's trying to rebuke the demigods. Because the demigods, what do they care about? Following dharma. So he's trying to hit them where it hurts. Saying, look at you, you're saying that you're protecting dharma, but you guys have no dharma. In saying this, he says some very interesting points. O demigods, these demonic soldiers have taken birth uselessly. Indeed, they have come from the bodies of their mothers exactly like stool. So the logic here is that in the same way from the mother's abdomen, the babies are produced, the mother's abdomen also produces stool. And if the baby has no value, then he's just saying it's also like stool. So it's a very interesting role he's playing. He's actually criticizing the demonic persons by saying like this. He's saying that these people, they are weak, they are useless. So then Srila Prabhupada actually goes into this in a little bit more detail. And he explains, what does it mean? What does it mean for a person to have value? What is real value? So if you're saying demonic people are like stool, in other words, they have no value, Srila Prabhupada then uses this as a chance to explain what is it that has value. And that he quotes Chanakya. Kortaputra jatena yona vidvana dharmikaha kanena chakshusha kimva chakshusha pidhaiva kevalam. Chakshu pidhaiva kevalam. What is the use of a son who is neither glorious nor devoted to the Lord? Vidvan or dharmika. Vidvan means glorious, in other words, knowledgeable in the right things, principles of morality. And dharmika means one who is following the practices that are set forth by God. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. One who follows the rules of God. Kanena chakshusha kimva, chakshu pideva kevalam. Such a son is like a blind eye, which simply gives pain but cannot help one see. So it's a very, very heavy statement. But the point that's being made is, our life is actually valuable when we use it in the service of Krishna. It is explained elsewhere in the Shastras by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. When a nail is on the body, what do? You put some nice nail paint, you put some nice design, you trim it nicely. But the same nail, when it comes off your body, what do? Do you have any value for it? What do? You throw in the bin, easily. The hair, when it's on the body, what do? You style it, you put different products, different gels, you do different style, different presentation. But as soon as the same hair falls off the body, what do? Do you keep it? Do you collect your hair and put it in a nice package? No, you think, get rid of it as quick as I can, throw it in the bin. Right? In the same way, a tooth, when it's on the smile, then you keep very happy. But when a tooth is lost, when the kids lose their teeth, what do you say? Actually, people do keep them. But what is it? Does it have any value? It has no value. In other words, the value of the tooth is when it's connected to the mouth. The value of the nail is when it's connected, the nail piece is when it's connected to the nail. The value of the hair is when it's connected to the head. And in other words, the value of the living entity is only present when he is connected to Krishna. Hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. That's our real value. That's the way we should identify. So it's a really, really nice point. Okay, and then he says, please stand, just wait a minute. simultaneously insulting and chastising. It's a very interesting dynamic here. He says, "Oh, insignificant demigods, you know, please stand before me for a moment." Now, what's going to happen is he's going to. I won't spoil it for you. Does anyone want to read verses 6 to 12? Any volunteers in the chat?
I will read.
Can we read? Oh, sorry. Okay, go on, Mataji, go on.
Okay, 6 to 12. Shukdev
One
goes.
second, I'll just make it a little bit bigger, Mataji. Sorry, I realize it's a little small.
Okay, thank you.
That's
6
okay. 6 to 12.
Shukdev Goswami said, Vritrasura, the angry and most powerful hero, terrified the demigods with his stout and strongly built body. When he roared with a resounding voice, nearly all living entities fainted. Text 7. When all the demigods heard Vritrasura's tumultuous roar, which resembled that of a lion, they fainted and fell to the ground as if struck by thunderbolts. Text 8. As the demigods closed their eyes in fear, Vritrasura taking up his trident and making the earth tremble with his great strength, trampled the demigods beneath his feet on the battlefield, the way a mad elephant tramples hollow bamboos in the forest. Text 9. Seeing Vritrasura's disposition, Indra, the king of heaven, became intolerable and threw at him one of his great clubs, which was extremely difficult to counteract. However, as the club flew towards him, Vritrasura easily caught it with his left hand. Text 10. O King Parikshit, the powerful Vritrasura, the enemy of King Indra, angrily struck the head of Indra's elephants with that club, making a tumultuous sound on the battlefield. For this heroic deed, the soldiers on both sides glorified him. Text 11. Struck with the club by Vritrasura like a mountain struck by thunderbolt, the elephant Aravat, feeling great pain and spitting blood from his broken mouth, was pushed back 14 yards. In great distress, the elephant fell with Indra on its back. Text 12. When he saw Indra's carrier elephant thus fatigued and injured, and when he saw Indra morose because his carrier had been harmed in that way, the great soul Vritrasura, following religious principles, refrained from again striking Indra with the club. Taking this opportunity, Indra touched the elephant with his nectar-producing hand, thus relieving the animal's pain and curing his injuries. Then the elephant and Indra both stood directly. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So the first 5 verses, Vritrasura chastising demigods, saying you should follow the religious principles and stop fighting. But when he sees that they're not listening, then he becomes angry. And what happens is, in text 6 and 7, you see now he terrifies the demigods by roaring. Where is that? Here. When he roared with resounding voice, they all fainted. Okay, they felt like they have been struck by thunderbolts. So this is the kind of powerful roar he had. So as they closed their eyes in the fear, then he took up a trident and making the earth tremble. So this is characteristic of a very strong person, a very powerful person. He tramples the demigods beneath his feet like a mad elephant tramples hollow bamboos in the forest. So you can imagine hollow bamboo. Bamboo is like this thin, you know, like a teeny stick. Big elephant. There is no chance of success. So this is the kind of power that Vritrasura had. And seeing that situation, Indra becomes very angry and throws one of his clubs, one of his gadas. But he catches it in the left hand and he throws that club back at Indra. This is actually one of the techniques of war fighting, which is explained in one of the Dharma Shastras. If your enemy throws a weapon at you, and it doesn't work, then you should use the same weapon against the enemy. That's a detour. We don't need to know that. But this is, when is it useful in spiritual life? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one personality tried to attack him with a ghost. I won't go into the full pastime, but one personality had tried to attack him with a ghost. So the ghost didn't do anything. What did Bhaktivinoda Thakur do? He simply recited Srimad Bhagavatam verses. And many people were present and they saw the ghost kept on trying to attack. But when it couldn't attack Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the same ghost went back and attacked the person that threw, that cast the ghost. Anyway, it's a basic principle of war fighting. If the weapon is useless, then use it back at your enemy. So he followed that basic principle. Throwing the elephant back, Airavata moves back 14 yards. Some people might think, what is that, 14 yards for Airavata. Airavata is the king of all elephants, the greatest. 14 yards is no joke. He moves quite significantly further back and he's in pain and he's bleeding. Spitting blood from his broken mouth. And then Indra revives, and now they just stand there silently on the battlefield. So kind of coming to a bit of a standstill now. Demigods have just been trampled, Dhritarashtra just throws the club back at Indra, and they're kind of just waiting silently. So this is the situation. So verses 1 to 5, Dhritarashtra chastises demigods. Verses 6 to 12, Dhritarashtra fights the demigods. Now we have verses 13 to 17.
Meena Janali Mataji or Arya, whoever.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. O king, when the great hero Vritrasura saw Indra, his enemy, the killer of his brother, standing before him with a thunderbolt in his hand, desiring to fight, Vritrasura remembered how Indra had cruelly killed his brother. Thinking of Indra's sinful activities, he became mad with lamentation and forgetfulness. Laughing sarcastically, he spoke as follows. Sri Vritrasura, he said, he who has killed a Brahman, he who has killed his spiritual master, indeed he who has killed my brother, is now by good fortune standing before me face to face as my enemy. O most abominable one, when I pierce your stone-like heart with my trident, I shall be freed from my debt to my brother. Only for the sake of living in the heavenly planets, you killed my elder brother, a self-realized, sinless, qualified Brahman who had been appointed your chief priest. He was your spiritual master. But although you entrusted him with the performance of your sacrifice, you later mercilessly severed his heads from his body the way one butchers an animal. Indra, you are bereft of all shame, mercy, glory, and good fortune. Deprived of these good qualities by the reactions of your fruitive activities, you are to be condemned even by the man-eaters, Rakshasas. Now I shall pierce your body with my trident, and after you die with great pain, even fire will not touch you. Only the vultures will eat your body. You are naturally cruel. If the other demigods, aware of my prowess, follow you by attacking me with raised weapons, I shall sever their heads with this sharp trident. With those heads, I shall perform a sacrifice to Bhairava and the other leaders of the ghosts along with their hordes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So now Indra and Airavata are standing there and he's rebuking Indra with very harsh words. Some of us may not understand this kind of back and forth words, but the words are very important for Kshatriyas because Kshatriyas have honor. And so even in words, if their honor is hurt, it really, really, really hurts them. So Kshatriyas, they always want nice words. With nice words, they become pleased, but harsh words really causes them pain. So that's why this is being spoken. So he's commenting on the fact that Indra had killed Vishvarupa. Reminder, Vishvarupa is the sage, the saint that Indra took shelter of. In order to correct the error of disrespecting his spiritual master, he accepted Vishvarupa as the spiritual master who taught him the Narayan Kavacha. He later kills Vishvarupa, who is the brother of Vritrasura. And so now he's saying that because you have mercilessly killed my brother for the sake of enjoying opulences in the heavenly planets, you killed my brother who is a Brahmana, you have therefore incurred sinful reaction. Shame on you. What kind of person do you think you are? You're a demigod, you're running the entire place, you're running the entire universe. Shame on you. Like this, he's chastising Indra. Okay? And then he's speaking harsh words. I'll pierce your body with my trident, and not even fire will touch you, only vultures will eat your body. And I'll perform sacrifice to Bhairava and the leaders of the ghosts with their hordes. So in this way he begins chastising Indra. But now there is a turning point in this chapter. This is where I have to reveal a secret, an open secret. Vritrasura, although he is a demon, he's actually not a demon. In fact, Vritrasura is a great personality who is in a demon's body in this birth. If you notice maybe there, it said Shri Vritrasura said, which means that he's actually an honorable personality. For that we have to delve to another pastime. There was once a great king by the name of Maharaj Chitraketu. Chitraketu Maharaj famously did not have a son. And that pastime concludes with, he gets a son by yajna. Then because he got a son with one wife, the other wives get upset that he's now favoring that one wife. They kill his son. Narad Muni comes and revives the son. The son then speaks to Chitraketu saying, I am not, who is my father? I've had so many fathers and mothers. Like this. This is a very famous pastime, I'm making it very short. That same Chitraketu Maharaj then goes and takes shelter of Lord Ananta. He goes to the forest, he meditates, he becomes realized and says, I was attached to so many material things. He takes shelter of Anantadev. And he sees the form of Lord Vishnu in the forest and he receives beautiful instructions. Now, he is already a great personality. As in that time, in other words, after this, while he's still a great personality, he's traveling in one aeroplane. And this, please don't ask me about this pastime too much now because it's so controversial pastime. Prabhupada gives very ambiguous purports about everything on this side, and for some reason, everyone is right in this pastime. So please don't ask me about this now, it's going to require its own story. As Chitraketu Maharaj is traveling in his transcendental aeroplane, he is looking, and one time he goes past Lord Shiva giving a lecture to great saintly personalities. Lord Shiva is sitting on an elevated seat, and the saintly personalities, the sages, are listening below him. And there's great sages present in that audience. Many great sages are present there. Lord Shiva is speaking Harikatha to them. The glories of Lord Vishnu is speaking. But in front of all these great sages, in front of all these great personalities, as Lord Shiva is speaking, Mother Parvati is sitting on his lap. And so, Chitraketu Maharaj comments, it's not exactly a Vaishnava Prad, as we'll discuss later, but he says, he laughs. He laughs, he says, my dear Lord Shiva, what is this? You're lecturing so nicely in front of all these great sages, great saintly personalities, but your wife is sitting on your lap as you're lecturing. So it's kind of like a curious thing. It's slightly offensive, but it's not meant with ill intention. Okay? So whether it's an offense or not is ambiguous. So Chitraketu Maharaj comments like that. Like, how are you doing that? It's more of a curiosity thing. If it was Vaishnava Parad, then all the sages would have left that place immediately, but they didn't, which means it's not. So, of course, Lord Shiva is not disturbed by this, Chitraketu, because he understands Chitraketu is not actually doing it in a ill-intentioned way. But Mother Parvati becomes extremely disturbed. And she curses Chitraketu. The same Chitraketu has seen Lord Vishnu himself. The same Chitraketu is a self-realized person, great devotee. She curses him. You're speaking to me like this. Therefore, you're offending a great personality. Therefore, you are actually not saintly. You will take the birth of a demon. So she curses him to take birth as a demon. That demon becomes Vritrasura. To give you a little bit of the ambiguity, Srila Prabhupada says, kind of Chitraketu Maharaj is right, because if you have a problem with your godbrother, Shiva is a disciple of Ananta, and Chitraketu Maharaj is also a disciple of Ananta, the same form of Lord Vishnu. So they're godbrothers. So kind of Chitraketu Maharaj is right, because if you have a problem with a godbrother, you kind of should raise it in a public place like that. But kind of he's also wrong, because why should you do in public? You should do that privately if he had a problem. Also, it's kind of Vaishnava Aparadh because he's saying something a little bit offensive, but it's also not really Vaishnava Aparadh, because otherwise Shiva would be agitated and the sages would be agitated. So Chitraketu is kind of right, kind of wrong. Okay? Lord Shiva, he is right in speaking. I mean, he is Shiva. I mean, he's literally, meaning is auspicious. He's completely absorbed in thought of Krishna. So anything he's done is fine. So that's fine. But at the same time, for the purpose of setting a good example, he should not be keeping wife of Parvati sitting in his lap. So both of those things are, yes, they're right and they're not right, okay? So in other words, Shiva is kind of right also. Chitraketu is also kind of right. And then Parvati, she's cursing Chitraketu. Well, she's right actually to do that, because it's, you know, it's a great personality. You should not speak like that to a great personality like Lord Shiva. But it's also a bit wrong, because Chitraketu is also a devotee of the Lord. He's not really causing offense. And so then what Lord Shiva then does is he glorifies the Vaishnavas and he says, Parvati, you shouldn't have done like this. But it's a really weird pastime, because everyone is right. Parvati is right in what she did, Chitraketu Maharaj is right in what he did, and so is Lord Shiva. Everyone is, all of a sudden, everyone is right. So don't put your, this is what I mean when I said at the beginning, Shastra, you don't understand by intelligence, you just accept by mercy. But that same Chitraketu becomes Vritrasura here. So the beauty of this pastime is that Vritrasura is, although in a demon form, he's actually a devotee. And now you will see what happens as he speaks to Indra from verses 18 to 23. Do we have any volunteer? Arya.
But if in this battle you cut off my head with your thunderbolt and kill my soldiers, O Indra, O great hero, I shall take great pleasure in offering my body to other living entities, such as jackals and vultures. I shall thus be relieved of my obligations to the reactions of my karma, and my fortune will be to receive the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees like Narada Muni. O king of the demigods, since I, your enemy, am standing before you, why don't you hurl your thunderbolt at me? Although your attack upon me with your club was certainly useless, like a request of money from a miser, the thunderbolt you carry will not be useless. You need have no doubts about this. O Indra, king of heaven, the thunderbolt you carry to kill me has been empowered by the prowess of Lord Vishnu and the strength of the Diji's austerities. Since you have come here to kill me in accordance with Lord Vishnu's order, there is no doubt that I shall be killed by the release of your thunderbolt. Lord Vishnu has sided with you, therefore your victory, opulence, and all good qualities are assured. By the force of your thunderbolt, I shall be freed of material bondage, and shall give up this body and this world of material desires. Fixing my mind upon the lotus feet of Lord Sankarsana, I shall attain the destination of such great sages as Narada Muni, just as Lord Sankarsana has said. Persons who fully surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always think of his lotus feet are accepted and recognized by the Lord as his own personal assistants or servants. The Lord never bestows upon such servants the brilliant opulences of the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems of this material world. When one possesses material opulence in any of these three divisions of the universe, his possessions naturally increases enmity, anxiety, mental agitation, pride, and belligerence. Thus one goes through much endeavor to increase and maintain his possessions, and he suffers great unhappiness when he loses them. Our Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, forbids his devotees to endeavor uselessly for religion, economic development, and sense gratification. O Indra, one can thus infer how kind the Lord is. Such mercy is obtainable only by unalloyed devotees, not by persons who aspire for material gains.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Arya. So this is 18 to 23 is now Vritrasura is instructing Indra. So Indra becomes disturbed, and then Vritrasura begins to instruct him, saying, what happened? Kill me with your thunderbolt. Can you imagine in a war situation? The beginning all makes sense. He's shouting at his own soldiers to get ready. He's shouting at the other team. Now he's saying, kill me. Come on. Why are you stopped? So because Indra has lost confidence now, because he's thrown the Gada, Indra's also now feeling maybe he won't win. And so Vritrasura now is instructing. In other words, Vritrasura now becomes the guru of Indra. This is important for the later chapters. And so he's instructing Indra, kill me. Why? Because, I need three things. I want to be relieved of my debts. As a brother, I have an obligation to protect Vishvarupa. I have to revenge for his death. I want to offer my body to other living entities. And I want to achieve the lotus feet, just from the lotus feet of great devotees. In other words, I want to go back to the spiritual world. So Indra, kill me, because I need to do these things. I want to fulfill my material dharma. I want to help other living entities. And I want to go back to Krishna. Then he says, because now Indra might think, my thunderbolt is weak. He says, no. Your thunderbolt is strong. Attack me. Your thunderbolt won't be useless. Why? Because it's coming from Lord Vishnu's guidance. Why have you lost faith in the words of the Lord? He's telling him, Indra, Lord Vishnu himself told you to do this. How have you lost faith in his words? Sometimes this happens in our spiritual life. We have spiritual instruction from the spiritual master and from the devotees, but it feels like it's impossible. Some kind of situation comes in, it makes it look like actually by doing that, nothing is gained. But by following these instructions, everything is gained. So in that same way, he says, you have the weapon with you. Why are you worried? Everything will happen. You just have to kill me. You haven't thrown your thunderbolt. What's going on? And then he says, by the force of your thunderbolt, I'll become free. Where will I go? I will achieve the destination of great sages like Narad Muni. Just like Lord Sankarshan has said. So the reason... Again, coming back to this concept of death, the words aham samadhaya manaha indicate the most important duty at the time of death is to concentrate one's mind. If one can fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna, Vishnu or Sankarshan or any Vishnu Murti, his life will be successful. To be killed while fixing his mind at the lotus feet of Sankarshan, Vritrasura asked Indra to release his Vajra, thunderbolt. He was destined to be killed by the thunderbolt. There was no question of its being baffled. Therefore, Vritrasura requested Indra to release the thunderbolt immediately. And he prepared himself by fixing his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. A devotee is always ready to give up his material body, which is described herein as Gramya Pasha, the rope of the material attachment. The body is not at all good, it's simply a cause of bondage. Unfortunately, even though the body is destined for destruction, fools, rascals invest all their faith in the body and are never eager to return home back to Godhead. So what is this basically saying? Vritrasura knew my duty here is to be killed by the thunderbolt. This is the pastime of Lord Vishnu. Okay? So my duty is to be killed. Indra's duty is to throw the thunderbolt. My duty is to be killed. Now Indra is stopping doing his duty. And that means that also Vritrasura can't do his duty in a pastime. This is kind of like, if you want to understand the situation, it's like a drama. In a drama, there is two people fighting. But then one person forgets that they're fighting in a drama and they think they're actually fighting in real life. Then what will the other player say? Maybe we're having a drama and myself and my dad, we are two opposing parties. Okay, and he's fighting me and I'm fighting back. And then all of a sudden I really start punching him. What will he say? Wait a minute. You're not meant to be doing that. This is a drama. You need to follow the script. The script is written by a narrator. Okay, you're going against the script. You've become illusioned. You're taking the illusory drama to become the reality. So the same thing is what Vritrasura is telling Indra. Same Chitraketu Maharaj as Vritrasura, as the demon. He's now telling Indra, wait a minute, this is part of a drama. I had this pastime. I need to just wind up this body quickly. So my duty is to just quickly get out of it. You're just meant to throw an thunderbolt at me. And you're forgetting your part and you're getting actually upset. Come on, get a grip. Come to terms with reality. The reality is this plan of Lord Vishnu. You're not following the script that Lord Narayan has set out for us. In following that script, all of our things are fulfilled, all our destination is achieved. So therefore, he's telling Indra, come on, follow the script. Don't get distracted. Don't become forgetful. Don't lose your intelligence. Don't become disheartened. So I will achieve this destination of great sages. So in other words, I'll go back to spiritual world. Then this verse is extremely beautiful. Persons who completely surrender to the Lord doesn't provide them amazing opulence and possessions. Okay? Because what can happen is, if the devotee is provided all these great opulences, they may become attached. And if the devotee becomes attached, they may want to live here in this material world rather than go back to their original destination with Krishna. And therefore, periodically in the life of the devotee, things are taken away. So that the devotee remembers, Krishna is my objective. Okay? Once the devotee has full faith that Krishna is his objective, then Krishna might actually even give things. Sudhama Brahmana, he had nothing. He knew Krishna is my goal. Because he was so fixed on Krishna being his goal, one of the reasons the Acharyas explain, because he was so fixed, then Krishna provided him material opulence. Another explanation is given, he became proud of his humility. So if you become proud of having material possession, Krishna takes away material possession. If you become proud of not having material possession, then Krishna gives you material possession. Somehow or other, the purpose of the Lord's plan is to reduce our false ego, to make us humble, and to serve in his plan. This is the idea that the Lord is having. And most beautifully, this verse, please everyone, this from 23 till 27 you should remember. 23 is not a prayer, but it's just a nice instruction. 24 to 27 are the prayers that Vritrasura offers. Traivargikayasa vighatamasmat patirvidatte purushasya chakra tatonumeyo bhagavat prasadho yo dhurlabho kinchana gochara nyai. O Supreme Lord, O Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, forbids his devotees to endeavor uselessly for, this word here, Traivargikayasa, three things: religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Don't uselessly endeavor for these things, is what the Lord is telling us. O Indra, one can thus infer how kind the Lord is. Such mercy is obtainable only by the unalloyed devotees who, not by persons who aspire for material gains. So dharma, artha, and kama, sense of gratification, economic development, and apparent religion. These things are useless. Our ultimate desire is actually to go and reunite ourselves with the Lord. And so the Lord takes away these things. For which kind of devotee? Akinchana gochara. Akinchana gochara is a very famous word because it comes up only in, I did research, only in one of the places in the Bhagavatam. And that is the prayers of Queen Kunti. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edhamana Madhapuman Naivarhatya Vidatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gochara. Let me actually pull that up. I should have done that. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. SB 1.28.6. This is the verse of Kunti Maharani. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with a respectable parentage, that's Janma, great opulence, Aishwarya, high education, Shruta, and bodily beauty, Shri, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. In other words, you need to be akinchana gochara. You need to be recognizing of the fact that sense gratification is misery. And at that stage, Krishna comes. When will we feel sense gratification is misery? If we experience misery. This is why sometimes, periodically, the devotee experiences some difficulty. Of course, the Pandavas had to go like that, through difficulty. And so it reminds us these three things, religion, economic development, and sense gratification, they're not our goals. Anyone can be religious. I can do 5 million, 100 yajnas and be religious. Not the goal. I can make the economy so much better by all my policies. Not the goal. I can gratify myself and enjoy as much as I want. Not the goal. The goal is to recognize material things not for us. Krishna's service is what I want. Such a beautiful verse. I'm just gonna... Of course, if one wants such benefits, the Lord awards them. Okay? However, Vritrasura is an unalloyed devotee. And so therefore he has the highest goal, which is aspiring just to serve. Therefore the Lord arranges for him to go back. So this is very important. Indra, where does it say it? It says somewhere here. Indra, for example, was not interested in release from material bondage. Okay, but Vritrasura did want that. So therefore actually Vritrasura is a more elevated devotee. Vritrasura requested that Indra release his thunderbolt against him so that both he and Indra would benefit according to their proportionate advancement in devotional service. So because Indra is not ready to give up material enjoyment, by fulfilling the Lord's plan, he gets his still material enjoyment. But because Vritrasura is ready to go back to the Supreme Lord, by the Lord's plan, he goes back to the Supreme Lord. In other words, Krishna, if you don't understand all this philosophy and it's too complicated and I'm not explaining it well, simple. Krishna provides the devotee devotion to the level that the devotee is surrendered. Ye yatamam prapadhyante tams tataiva bhajamyaham. At the same time as providing the devotee the tests and everything in proportion, and the enjoyment and the results in proportion to the devotee, Krishna also periodically encourages his devotee to become a better devotee at the same time, by giving little tests in the life of devotee. That is this point here. It's very, very nice. And now we have verses 24 to 27, which will be very, very beautifully explained by Srila Prabhupada's purports. So can we have a volunteer to read out the prayers of Vritrasura from verses 24 to 27?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Text 24. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, will I again be able to be a servant of your eternal servants who find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant, so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes. My words always glorify those attributes, and my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship. Text 25. O my Lord, source of all opportunities, I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvalok, the heavenly planets, or the planet where Lord Brahma resides, nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of all the earthly planets or the lower planetary systems. I do not desire to be master of the powers of mystic yoga, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your lotus feet. Text 26. O lotus-eyed Lord, as baby birds that have not yet developed their wings always look for their mother to return and feed them, as small calves tied with ropes await anxiously the time of milking, when they will be allowed to drink the milk of their mothers, or as a morose wife whose husband is away from home always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects, I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you. Text 27. O my Lord, my Master, I am wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy, but I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached only to you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you. So, such beautiful prayers are offered. Actually, I feel I'm doing them an injustice. What we should do is we should also read the verses. And, okay. I'll just make this a little smaller. If you get the chance, you're able to please learn these, memorize these verses. Aham hare tava padakai mula dhasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manah smareta supater gunamste grinitava karma karotu kaya Nanakapristam na cha parameshtyam na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhira punarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kankshe ajata paksha iva mataram kagha stanyam yatavat Satarakshudartaha Priyam Priyeva Vyushitam Vishana Manoravindaksha Didrikshate Tvam Mamotamashloka Janeshu Sakyam Samsara Chakre Bhramata Swakarma Bihi Tvanmayayatmatmajadaragehis asaktachitasya nanata bhuyat. So these are the beautiful prayers which are offered by the divine demon Vritrasura. Will I again be able to become the servant of your eternal servants? Dhasanu dhaso bhavitasmi bhuyaha. The real devotee doesn't want to become a devotee of Krishna. The real devotee wants to become a devotee of the devotees of Krishna. Dhasanu dhaso bhavitasmi bhuyaha. Where do I want to be? Aham hare tava pada kaimula. I want to find shelter at your lotus feet, and I want to become a servant of your servants. Then manahasmare tasu pater gunamste. My mind, may my mind always think of you and your great qualities. This is what our mind should do. So what is our identity? Servant of the servant. And what should our mind be doing? Focusing on Krishna. And grinita vak, may my words, may my vak glorify you. May my words glorify you. And I want my body, karma karotu kaya. My body should engage in your service. In other words, let everything I have be in the service of you and your devotees. This verse gives the sum and substance of devotional life. One must first become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Dhasanu dhasa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised, he has also shown us by example, that a living entity should always desire to be the servant of the servant of Krishna. Gopihi bhartu padakamalayur dhasa dhasanu dhasa. This means that one must accept a spiritual master who comes in disciplic succession and is a servant of the Lord. Under his direction, one must engage in one's three properties. One must engage one's three properties, namely his body, mind, and words. The body should be engaged in physical activity under the order of the master. The mind should incessantly think of Krishna, and one's words should be engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord. So, tanuvak manobhir, this also comes in Bhagavatam. That mind, body, words, all of these we should use in Krishna service. So everyone can do word service for Krishna, and generally this is the one we like because it's easy to preach, to just explain. But the mind and the body should also be used as well. If one is thus engaged in loving service of the Lord, one's life is successful. People always wonder, how can we please Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada has given us the definition exactly of what does he think success is. When one's mind, body, and words are engaged in the service of the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master, this is considered success. Nanaka prishtam nachaparameshtyam nasarvabhaumam narasadipatyam. I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka. I do not want heavenly planets. I do not want where Lord Brahma resides. I don't want to be the ruler of everywhere. Nor do I want na yoga siddhir apunar bhavamba. I don't want yoga siddhi. I don't want liberation. All I want is your lotus feet. I don't want anything if it means that I have to give up your lotus feet. In other words, he's saying that what is the use of anything if I'm not attached to you? It's similarly explained by Lord Shiva in the Chitraketu pastime, by the way. In the Chitraketu pastime, Lord Shiva explains this. That saropya sarshti samipya, like this he explains, that all the different types of liberation, the devotee does not want them. Vinamat sevanam jana. They do not want liberation if there is no opportunity for service. So he's clarifying, my Lord, I want to take shelter of you in all the ways. And what do I want? I don't want anything else. I don't even want liberation. I want your lotus feet. Narayana parasarve na kutashtana bibyati svarga apavarga narkesha pitulyartha darshana. When the devotee is completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, hell, heaven, and liberation are the same thing. Because for him, it doesn't matter where he is, he's always engaged in service. Everywhere is Vaikuntha for him. This is the beauty. Tandera charana sevi bhakta sanevas, janame janame hai abhilash. To serve the Lord and the servant of his servants in the association of devotees is the only objective of pure, unalloyed devotee. Janame janame hoy, birth after birth, this is all we want. To serve along with the devotees under the guidance of the spiritual master, just to serve at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. We don't want anything else. Service is most important for us. And then he gives an example. When the bird is waiting for his mum, a baby bird is waiting for the mum, it is completely dependent. And what does it do? Not even one moment, it stops thinking about the mum. When will my mum return? and give me food. Yeah? In the same way, the small calf is always awaiting for when the milking will happen. Because after milking happens, then they get to drink the remaining milk. So they're always anxious. In other words, this is not just, it's one thing to constantly remember Krishna, but it's one thing to be desperate for Krishna. So he's now just saying, I want to serve you, is what he's saying in the first verse. I want to serve you under the guidance of the devotees. Second verse, he says, I want to serve you and I only want your service. I don't want a mixed service. I don't want liberation even. Forget moksha. Forget material opulence. I want to just serve you. What kind of service? I don't want to just serve you and just remember you all the time. I want to do it with intense feeling. Sometimes our devotion is very mechanical. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, mechanical devotion cannot produce genuine devotion. We have to do with some level of feeling. And so in this pastime, Vritrasura is put in a difficult situation. Why? Where Indra is going to kill him, so he can have some feeling. And we need to have this feeling when we're calling out to the Lord. Because when you cry, Gaur Govind Maharaj says, you need to cry for Krishna. Cry for Krishna. Atma Krandham, cry of the soul. Anyone can have crocodile tears in the eyes. But he's saying we need to have a sense of desperation. We need to have a sense of, I am actually taking shelter of you. I'm not just keeping Krishna in my mind, but I actually have a feeling. Like that we should remember. So a pure devotee always yearns, he's so keen to opportunity to associate with the Lord and render service. Then finally, I am wandering throughout samsara chakre brahmata svakarma. I'm wandering throughout this material world as a result of my karma. But what do I seek? Uttama shloka janeshu sakyam. Uttama shloka, God, Krishna. Janeshu, the people of God, the people of Krishna, the devotees. Sakyam, friendship with the people of God. Friendship with the devotees of Krishna. This is what I want. I want the devotion, association of the devotee. Friendship and association of the devotee. My attachment to all my bodily things, I want that to be removed. I wish to be attached no longer. And then finally, let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached to you. I want everything. Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. I want everything to simply be attached to you. So he's first saying, I want to serve with the association of the devotees. I want to be the servant of the servant of the servant. Follow the spiritual master. Use my mind, body, words in your service. After that, he says, service means not just mixed service. I want pure service. I don't want the material things, actually. You can get rid of the material things. I just want to serve you. Not just do I want to serve you, I want to serve you with desperation. I want to really have a feeling when I serve you. And finally, I want to serve you not just with desperation, with feeling, with just service, but I want to have friendship and association of the devotees, which will make it far more pleasurable. And it will remove any tinge of material attachment I have. I want to invest my mind, body, and words in thinking of you. This is how a devotee wants to develop the mood before they leave the body. This is the perfect mood. Bhishma Dev giving up his body, what does he say? He says, let me invest my mind, which has so long been focused on other subject matters, in you, my Lord. Iti matir upakalpita vitrishna bhagavati shasvata pungave vibhumni swasukam upagate kvachid vihartum prakriti upeshi yad bhavak pravaha. I want to upakalpita, I want to invest my mind fully in you. So this is the mood of the devotee as he's ready to take shelter of the Lord. So actually Vritrasura, this divine demon, becomes Indra's guru. He instructs Indra in what to do. And he then takes shelter of the Lord. And he develops the perfect mindset of taking shelter of the Lord. We want to serve spiritual master and become the servant of the servant. We want to do just service, nothing else. We want to do service with desperation. And we want to do service in association. So the conclusion is service, unalloyed service, desperate service, and service in association. This is what the highest, most pure form is for us. Of course, for our standard, this is far greater than we can imagine. But if we pray and we follow these and we recite these prayers to the Lord and we actually try and develop that mood and we say, my Lord, I don't have feeling, but I want to serve you. I don't have any feeling, but please let me do like this. And if you offer the prayers like this, Stavapata, offering these great prayers of the great devotees, the Lord also becomes pleased with us. And he slowly gives us the ability to try and elevate our consciousness in this way. So, oh my God, I'm over time. Wow. Please forgive me, dear devotees. I didn't mean to go over time. I thought I was in time. To conclude the chapter, at the beginning, he chastises the demigods. He then frightens Indra and Airavata. He then chastises Indra. But finally, from verse 18 onwards, he corrects Indra, and verse 24 onward, he offers beautiful prayers. And the prayers are concluding about just service, desperate service, service and association, serving the servant. And so this is our identity, this is our success in spiritual life, and this is the way we can please Srila Prabhupada. Do we have any questions from devotees?
Ramashri Mataji raised her hand.
Yeah, sorry, Shamashriji Mataji, you are muted, Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
A very, very wonderful lecture. I just want to know how to develop this intense mood.
You know, I will... Okay, let me say, I don't have this mood. I don't have a qualification to come up with my own answer. I'm just going to repeat what I've heard elsewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's described to move from the mood of devotion, from duty to love. There are three things that we need, okay? The first is a desperation, and emotion should be there. Many times we engage intelligence in service by thinking how we can serve. Words we engage, but emotion we have, but for some reason we don't want to engage. So if we actually engage emotion, it's described that the service becomes very intense with some sense of feeling. So when we chanting and focusing the mind is very nice, but chanting and actually feeling, okay, please engage me in your service, please engage me in your service, please engage me in your service, with feeling, that really apparently helps. So that is the first thing. The second thing that's mentioned is you have to take some dedication apparently. So this is explained in the purport to one verse in Bhagavatam, Yat Pada Pankaja Pilasa Vilasa Bhaktya. So Vilasa Bhakti means loving devotion. But normally we don't do loving, we do dutiful. So he says that in that verse translation, it's described that what will happen is when we engage with the dedication, we take a commitment. For example, some people might be initiation, some people might be chanting 16 rounds. If you love someone, you have to prove you love them. No, I can. Let's say I'm maintaining my family, if I'm a family man and I'm maintaining my family, but I just treat it as a kind of job. I have to maintain them. Then they might not like, but if they see I'm going to extra effort to maintain them, even though it's causing me difficulty, then they will feel, oh, this person loves me. In other words, we have to push a little bit out of our comfort zone. So in that verse it's described we have to push a little out of our comfort zone. And what Krishna does is he puts his lotus feet on your heart. And Krishna's toes are non-different from his hands. And what he does with his toes, by his tippy-tapping of his toes on the heart, is he unties all the knots of karma which bind the heart. He unties all the knots of material attachment. And by tapping his toes on the heart, he makes us become an elevated devotee. So there's two things there, desperation and dedication. I don't have either of those qualities, so please pray for me that I can, please bless me actually, that I can develop those qualities. But I'm just repeating the words of Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Such an amazing question, Mataji. Thank you.
Great to have that desire. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah. One time, Gaur Govind Maharaj says you need to cry for Krishna. Then someone in the audience, I think Mr. Allen, there's a famous, you need to watch that. Everyone needs to watch that. Search Gaur Govind Maharaj, Mr. Allen, you'll find that class. Mr. Allen puts his hand up and he says, yes, Mr. Allen, what do you want? He says, I cannot cry for Krishna. Then he says, okay. And he thinks for a minute and then he says, you cannot cry for Krishna? Cry that you cannot cry for Krishna. Somehow or other, our emotion has to become engaged as well in the service. So that's it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the devotees. I'm just going to give a little teaser. So now Vritrasura has proven he is a great elevated devotee, far more elevated than Lord Indra himself. And he's instructed Indra, so what does that mean? He's a devotee. He's kind of like the spiritual master of Indra. Now, of course, what's Indra probably going to do? He's heard instructions of Vritrasura. So he's probably going to kill Vritrasura. But if you kill a devotee, and if you kill the spiritual master, it doesn't look good. And so Indra finds himself in the third sticky situation of this chapter, coming up in the next chapter. So please join us next Thursday to find out what happens then.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate it. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam
Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
very much.
Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Hare
very
Krishna.
much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.